Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Last Cloudia. Now, before we talk about the hottest banner that we've seen in a very, very long time, let me go ahead and just do a quick plug. For those who don't know, me and an old friend of mine have been doing a podcast for a few years now called the OG Podcast. Just announcing that we're going to be back on YouTube. So, in the past, we were live on Twitch and then we were live on Facebook. So, we're actually going to be live on YouTube. It's not going to be on my channel, it'll be on my friend's Handy Kill Cam. That's handy with an I, not a Y. So we just basically talk about video games. So if you're interested in just hearing a bunch of guys talk about games, feel free to check us out over there. And you can also hear our older episodes on his channel as well, where I go by my older gamer tag, OG Cronksta. Just wanted to give that quick plug out for us. And there she is. Man, that is the Regnant of Fire, Eliza. So, for those of you who don't know how to spell the word waifu, it's Eliza. Before I simp all over her, we're just going to go ahead and just talk about her stats and everything that she does. So, she is a sorcerer. So, we're looking for a good MP, we're looking for a good intelligence, which the intelligence is basically standard what we expect, at least 1500. So, 1546 is good, MP of 377 is decent, and everything else is, pretty decent overall. Everything's over 1,000 when she's fully maxed out, so that's a good thing. As far as resistances, she is resistant to silence, so I would recommend learning silent resist for her or equipping an item that gives silence resistance just to make sure that she's constantly casting spells. She is resistant to stun as well, so you can also do something to mitigate that too. Those are the important things for her. Now, as far as elements, as you would expect, she is resistant to fire, but she's also resistant to wind a lot more, and she's also resistant to light, which makes sense. And actually, the wind does make sense because of Lanceable. I just realized that. Cool. Moving on to her skills, which you probably won't be using too much, but everything's going to be fire-based, as you can see. So just know that it's going to be one element. She's going to be the same element she's always been, just better. I would say the only thing to really look out for, I do like the special. It says fire combo attack to all enemies, reduce enemies' fire resistance. So this does it. It's not a chance to reduce fire resistance, it actually does it. Now keep in mind that you do have to get to her special to do that, which there are ways to, make that happen quickly. But I like any kind of mage that can lower resistances. Moving along, so we have Regnant of Fire. So this trait says fire damage plus 20%, damage cap 4,000, fire magic damage 30%, damage cap 4,000. So to kind of put this together, the fire damage plus 20%, the first part that I read, this is just fire specific. And then the second part, the fire magic damage, that's specifically magic. So the fire magic will give an additional 30% damage with an additional 4,000 damage cap. And it says strengthened fire attack magic unlocked from units ability board. Okay, it's weird how they word it. There's a reason, I just don't know exactly why yet. Moving on to the second trait, Sorcery Helix. Attack magic casting speed plus 20%. We'd love to see fast, casting speed on your mages. Very good. Greatly boost all enemy attack magic power based on how few enemies there are. Max damage plus 40%, damage cap 6,000. This is read a little weird because it says attack magic casting speed. That's fine. 20% greatly boosts all enemy attack magic power. Like, why would you boost your enemy's attack magic power? Like, what I'm thinking is supposed to say is something along the lines of your, I guess, magic attack power is based on how many enemies are there. I don't know. I just don't. It just doesn't feel like it's worded correctly. But I'm assuming you're actually getting a boost based off of the number of enemies there are, or how few enemies there are. Like I said, it just reads really weird. All right, I'm going to move on to the skills because that's a little awkward. So we have Blazing Anima. So this is the second anima we've ever seen, if I'm not mistaken. The first being Luxeus. So this is similar to a charisma, except for instead of doing a buff, it does a debuff to the enemies. So this says fire and light resistance minus 20% to all enemies, only while unit is alive, and of course it doesn't stack with other animas. So I love this because this is basically making all of your fire and light units be able to deal more damage. So if you got A2 or old school Alice or Roy, all of those kind of characters are going to definitely be dealing more damage. They want her in the party to do that kind of support. So that's amazing. Love it. So moving on, we have some other magic spells: Burning Strike, Meteor Rain, Crimson Flare, the stuff we've seen before. Now Big Bang is going to be new. This is a powerful fire attack to all enemies. Chance to reduce enemies' strength minus 20%. Damage cap 1,000. Which, by the way, shout outs to Final Fantasy IV with the name Big Bang. You'll know what it means if you're into it. Flame Wall. We got Arcade Up 3, Arcade Up 5. Critical up 2 with advanced aim vitals and proud force. Nice to see. Now here's a new one, Sunflame. So less likely to be targeted by enemies, chance to evade physical and magic attacks. So that's nice to see. Beast Geyser, another new one. Magic attacks are effective against beasts, plants, insects, birds, fish, and creatures. So this is a Slayer except for magic. Now, the question is, does this work for Special Boost? Now, Special Boost has Killer and Slayer type, AS by 50%. My assumption is, even though this doesn't specifically say Slayer, I think that Slayer is implied in this, and I want to believe that Special Boost will work with Beast Geyser, because, again, it's the same effect, but instead of it being physical, it's magic. I think testing would need to be done to confirm that, but it wouldn't make sense to have Special Boost with no, legit Slayers on hand. So I'm assuming that these two do stack. Moving along, we got Auto Crit, we got Auto Advanced Circle. That's beautiful to see on a mage. Auto Recast, another beautiful thing to see. Awaken, Fire Boost, Fire Mega Boost, Fire Critical Neo. That's new. So fire magic attacks have a chance of dealing critical damage. Fire magic attack damage cap 2,000. So we're getting more damage cap and, more crits. We have Fire Attack Raise and Fire Attack Raise 3, which is, I believe, the first time we've seen the third version of it. I might be wrong. Basically, Fire Attack damage was 30% with Fire Damage cap 2,000. We have Fire Critical Rise, High Level Magic Chant, Thumering. So this is the stuff you would typically see on a good mage. We got Sorcerer's Wisdom. This is new. Staff and Robe Equip. Staff's Intelligence and Robe's Mind plus 50%. So basically the 50% increases the stat of the staff and the stat of the robe based on those particular things, intelligence and mind respectively. Really good. Love to see it. We also have Staff High Boost. We love to see that too. We have Magic Aura. More damage. Why not? Mind Pierce, which I like too. When magically attacking, chance to have enemies mind and deal damage. I love any kind of elemental piercing for mages. It's something that they really need to get in there. And Synchronized Blaze. When the Summoning Stone Ignite, is set, fire damage plus 30%, fire damage cap 3,000. This is awesome. This is the first time we've ever seen a character that has a passive that works with Summoning Stone. Well, actually, this is the second character because Lena was the first, but this is the first one that'll actually be used regularly. So I'm looking forward to one day getting this character and actually equipping this because it's just going to be great. And keep in mind that this just says fire damage and fire damage cap, which means that it can be physical or magic. It doesn't say either way, which means you can do both. So that's awesome. And I want to say, I'm not sure if this is specifically just for her. It might just be for her. It doesn't say anything about the party, so I'm assuming it's just her that gets a bonus from this. If it's everyone, that just makes this even better. But it's really nice to see something as unique as this. So overall, I like this unit a lot. So for starters, she is a mage, which sorcerers aren't very popular these days. I still play sorcerers because I actually think they're interesting. They're not necessarily there to deal the massive amounts of damage that you would want, although she can deal some good damage. They're mainly here for utility, and that's what you have to respect about mages. I kind of can compare it to Rabala because she has an ability that lowers, I believe, all element resistance by 20%, which is definitely better. But for her, she has something similar specifically for fire and light. So the fact that she can support the team by enabling your other teammates to potentially deal more damage is great, while being able to do some good damage herself. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic character. I hope to get this character. I 100% plan on doing the best I can to get this. And I'm not gonna lie, this character looks great. I'm not gonna go too into it, but just look at the outfit, the high heels, the skirt. That's what you want to see. That's a lady right there. So, like I said, if you want to learn how to spell the word waifu, it's Eliza. Now we did get an arc as well. This is the Aldana Institute of Magic. So it makes sense because we got a sorcerer here. So the attribute here says robe equipped, physical damage taken minus 15%. Each time defeating an enemy, ends plus 3%, magic 10 times, resets if incapacitated. So you can do this up to 10 times, so you're going to get up to 30% if you max out. Boost magic attack damage based on number of living sorcerer type allies. 10% per sorcerer type ally, max plus 40%. So this is similar to one of Rabala's passives. I think she does something similar as well. If you have a bunch of sorcerers, you get, some bonuses and whatnot. So the fact that you have it on an arc, I just say it's interesting. I think this is worth using in general for 80 mage. So yeah, I like it. Let's take a look at what you can actually learn here. So we have Aura, Arcane Up, which is great. I believe this is the first art that you can learn this from, so you're getting a boost in Intelligent and MP. The thing that's great about this is, one, it's only 3 SC, so it's cheap, and we do want some MP, especially for your mages, or for anyone that can do alchemy. You want to see this, so this is great. It also comes with Staff Boost, which there are not many arcs that come with that, so I think there's only one other one you can get it from, one or two, but it's nice to see that. Fast Recast, which I believe this is the first time that's here. I might be wrong. It's either the first or the second. But Fast Recast is good, especially for just 2 SC. You want that for all of your mages that don't have auto recast. Phase Change, which is okay. And then you have Grand Aura. This basically boosts an ally's intelligence by 35%. So it's, pretty decent for any, buffer. But either way, the Fast Recast and the Arcane Up are really the two abilities that are the most stand out here. I think that is great. And take a look at the Arc Ether Reward. This is the Magic Instructor's Wand. So we got Strength 36, Intelligence 206, Mind 85. So we're looking at decent stats already. Fire, Ice, Earth, Thunder, Magic Attack Damage plus 15%. So this is actually really cool. There's actually a robe that you can get in the God Forge that gives you plus 50% to all magic damage until you level it up, beyond, I think it's like 30, it goes up, or maybe it's 40. But anyway, 50% is good. Now, the difference between this and the other one is all magic, where this is everything but light and dark. It's still good. So people like Zekas will like it. People, obviously, most mages that deal with any of these 4 elements or a combination of will like this. Even especially your rainbow ones like Sinku, Zalorg. I mean, there's just lots of characters that would like this. And overall, this is actually a pretty decent item. I wouldn't necessarily go out of your way to craft it super fast, but you'll get it eventually as time progresses, and you'll want to put this on whatever your strongest mage is. Now, there are other staffs that are better in general, but this is good to have. I still think it's pretty decent. So overall, I think this is a decent arc. Like I said, the arc attribute is okay. The things you can learn is pretty good, and the actual equipment also is pretty decent. So overall, it's just a good arc. I'm not going to say it's top tier or anything, but I think it's really, really good, especially if you like mages. All right, let's take a look at some of these credential items. So, we'll start with the robe here. This is the Burgundy Gown Silure. So, for Eliza only, we have Intelligence plus 120, Defense 46, Mind 120. Kind of wish this was a boost in MP, but oh well. Fire attack damage cap 1000. Continuous high protection effect, reduced chance to take criticals. This also comes with a resistance to silence. So, first impression of this is, I think it's decent. The things that make this item decent is the fact that it does give her that resistance that I talked about earlier, so that she can be nil to silence, so that'll be good for that. The continuous high protection is decent. Mages are pretty squishy against physical attackers, so that helps a little bit. Reduced chance to take criticals is also good, specifically for Arena. I do think that Eliza has a chance to be okay in Arena, especially with the ability to use her charisma. I think it's gonna help on offense, and then in this case, it'll potentially keep her alive. I say potentially because, it's pretty hard to stay alive. But I think that she could potentially do well with this particular item on. But that's the main thing. The damage cap isn't really a huge deal with this particular character because, again, mages aren't known for dealing like lots of damage per second. There's not a lot of DPS going on, so the damage cap almost doesn't really matter for a mage. I'm just going to be honest. It would have mattered back in the day when there was time stop. Then this would be fantastic. But because time stop's no longer a thing, it's really hard to get excited about damage cap increases for an item for a mage. So it's a little weird, but again, the silence resistance is great, and less chance to take crits is really good. Now for her other item, these are the Burgundy d'Orsay heals. Of course, the girl's got her heals on, of course. So intelligence 45, MP 35. So there's where the MP is going. Attack magic casting speed plus 30%. Wow. So we're going for insta cast here. Continuous aura effect, boost movement speed, and stun resistance. So there's absolutely everything good about this. This gives you some MP, which is what the robe was lacking. You still get a little bit of intelligence, which is nice. Casting speed is really important, really great. The continuous aura effect is just an added bonus, and then movement speed is always good too. Like I said, there's everything about this item is just good. So if you're just budgeting and you're planning on just getting one of these two items, the high heels are definitely the one to get. There's no question about it. Like I said, the problem with the robe is that there's a couple of things decent, but overall a lot of stuff that's just nothing amazing, nothing necessary. Whereas here, she's getting a lot of the stuff she needs. So if you're on a budget and you're just getting one item, get the heals. Just saying. But overall, I really, really dig in this character. I'm also really liking the arc. I've already done about 10 multis so far. Unfortunately, I have not pulled my new waifu, so one day we'll get her. I did get 2 of the arcs, so it's nice just to get that at least, so nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to keep trying. As the days go by, who knows, we may get some more crystals by surprise, and we'll see what happens. But until next time, keep gaming and take care, everyone. Later.